welcome back to another episode of Lights Out with Ish and Eve. I'm Ish and this is Eve, and as you can see, we are a little bit digital this week to discuss the Brazilian Grand Prix. I am currently in Bali, beautiful Bali, and so I'm feeling a little bit tan, feeling a little bit sweaty.
She's looking refreshed.
I'm feeling refreshed. I was swimming with elephants this morning. I've been having a great old time.
Oh my god.
I know.
I'm only a little bit jealous. It's been raining here in Sydney today, so...
It's been really nice here. I got my swimmers on, I'm looking right up. My pool's
What time
right
is it there, like 3 p.m?
Yeah, like 3:30.
Nice.
Yeah,
anyway,
so no, it's been lovely.
Back digital.
Yes, but F1 doesn't stop even if we're on holidays. So we're obviously back to discuss the absolute chaos. I thought the Mexican Grand Prix was chaos.
Brazil said, I raise you.
Honestly.
A billion red flags.
For real. From start to finish. So,
I feel like the Brazilian Grand Prix was like, the guy that drives the safety car has had months off. Obviously, we had a safety car for the first time, like, the other day. I think in like Austin. But he was like, I'm going to put you to work.
It was like, all those races where you did nothing, we're going to make up for that this 1 week.
I know, and I was like the recovery crew that has to like I was like, how do you have that many cranes? Like, surely all of the cranes are still taking everyone else's broken car back to the garage. I've also lost my voice a little bit, so I might sound a little different, but...
That's alright. I might sound a little bit funny too, because I am outdoors and there are people behind this wall, and we're doing our best.
Shut the fuck up!
We're making it work.
Anyway.
We may also have to record this over 2 sessions, so...
We'll see. I would like to congratulate Max Verstappen on the 2024 World Championship.
Yeah, it is championship over, bro.
I know. I mean, realistically... he was probably always gonna win it. Like, yeah. I always, like, people are like, the Lando haters have been waving their pitchforks on social media.
I think Lando was a bit of a brat this weekend.
In what sense?
In the way he spoke to some of the reporters, his comments after the race. I don't think he was doing himself any favours.
Yes. What are you talking about specifically? Because I have a bone to pick with whoever the fuck put on Twitter the fact that Lando apparently said about Max that it's not talent, it's just luck.
I did see that.
Because that wasn't about Max.
Yeah, right. It was taken out of context.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the context?
So the context was he was talking about safety cars and, like, the timing of safety cars, and they asked him, like, you know, how much did it play a part? And he was like, yeah, well, like, obviously it played a part, and, like, I've had my benefits from it, and everyone does. Like, it's just one of those things that happens, and, like, when that happens, it's not talent, it's luck. He wasn't talking about Max.
Yeah, like, specifically.
Yeah, but earlier on in the weekend when someone asked him about the Drivers' Championship and he was like, I'm sick of the questions, I was like, oh!
Yeah. I was like, you are paid far too much money to give a response like that.
But also, like, that's the type of shit that Max says so often, and people are like, oh, Cook Max, Sassy Max, Mad Max.
No, totally. But, yeah.
And I'm like, well... I know, it caught me off guard as well, and I was like, watch yourself, kid. Yeah. But I was also like, this is like the same thing that he says, and people are like, he's so unserious, he's so funny, he'll just tell you what he thinks.
I know. Like, I think as well, like, in the sprint race, when Oscar didn't give him the place straight away, he, like, got a bit whiny, and I was just like...
Yeah. I know, I was like...
Anyway, but obviously, like, it's a very high-pressure moment for Lando. Like, all these final weekends, like, so there's always going to be a bit of emotion. And he hasn't been in this situation before, where he's got the potential, well, not so much anymore, but had the potential of winning the Drivers' Championship. Like, so emotions are going to be heightened.
Yeah, and he said that after the sprint. He was like, well, I know that, you know, some of the things that I said was, like, maybe not the best way to say that, but... You know, emotions run high in there. So,
yeah.
But I'm like, It's also, like, because people love to be like, oh, he's the fucking worst. He didn't win the world championship. And I'm like, okay, this is a kid who just got his first win the other day.
Yeah.
And he's the closest person to Max since fucking Lewis.
Yeah.
Like, Perez was, like, 300 points away from him. Charles was, like, 150 in 2022.
Yeah.
He's the closest anyone's been to Max since Lewis. Like, no one going into the season ever expected him to even challenge for the world championship.
No,
So the fact that we ended up here is insane.
Totally.
Like, how has this happened?
I know. Totally.
Anyway.
So,
we should get into
the weekend?
Yes.
Practice. Do you have any thoughts? Things, notes?
Obviously, Ollie Bearman was back in the car. Surprise feature from Ollie.
True.
Because K-Mag was unwell. I hope he's okay. And I was sad for him because he only has, like, a few races left.
Yeah.
And he's gone. So, sad for him.
No,
and the fact that Max was having a 5-place grid penalty.
Yes.
Which, talking about it now is...
meant absolutely nothing, man.
Fucking niche. Fucking niche, man.
Literally.
Anyways.
So then we got into sprint quali. And SQ1, Ollie Bearman slayed. I was like, welcome back, Ollie. Killing it.
Yep.
That didn't continue for the rest of the weekend, but he started strong.
Lando was fucking flying.
I
in
know.
sprint quali.
When he set that lap that was like 8/10 faster than Oscar, and Oscar was
In
already
Q1.
like, did a crazy lap, I was like...
Like 3/10 quicker than everybody else.
Yeah.
I was like... My jaw dropped.
Yeah,
I
me
was
too.
Like, how, Peter? How are you doing that? Like, what the fuck? But I put like Bottas got through again, and he did again in actual quali. Like, he was kind of cooking.
Yep.
I was like, I see you.
Yep. SQ2, obviously Perez then didn't get around in time to start his lap, which was just an absolute fail on behalf of Red Bull. Alex Albon obviously got through to SQ3, which was a vibe given everything that's been going on. Again, his luck did not continue over the course of the weekend either. But
he had a rough one. Williams had a rough one.
Yeah. Absolute shoo-in for biggest L, quite frankly.
Yeah, literally.
There are a few other competitors, but Williams is definitely
absolutely.
And then obviously in SQ3, Oscar just put in an absolute banger of a lap. Like, no two ways about it. Nailed it.
Yep, he slayed. And I was like, amazing, good job, kid. We love to see it. Yeah. Because I also knew that, like, McLaren were going to tell him to let Lando through. Totally. And they still made a meal of it. But... Like, yeah, when they were 1 and 2, I was like, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And where was Max? Yeah, Charles was 3rd. Charles and Oscar, not as if it was ever going to fucking happen, but both officially out of championship contention.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it was bound to happen at some point, but the big haul of points for Max, he was like, fuck you all. Yeah. Not that, like, either of them were probably going to win it, but...
I know.
That's...
Crazy.
I saw, like, a big thing pop up on my Explore page, and it was, like, Oscar's face with, like, eliminated. And I was like, has this hoe been disqualified or something? Yeah. Like, what's happened? It's, like, from championship contention. I was like, oh.
I know, I saw that too last weekend with Carlos. And I was like, what's he been eliminated from?
Yeah, literally. I was like,
hello?
I knew this. Like, this is not news.
Honestly, so weird.
Anyway,
so that was kind of sprint quali. It was very, like, it was still, like, very good to watch, just particularly, like, being like, okay, McLaren is going to come in clutch this weekend. That was my sense after sprint quali. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Championship gonna be slaying.
Yeah, me too.
So anyway, then we got to the sprint. And, first of all, 3 drivers starting in the pits is kind of crazy. I had never seen that before. Yeah. I was like,
eh? The whole gang was like, hold on.
Yeah.
We want to cook. It's like, well...
Why? I guess maybe it makes sense because they can, like, take the L in a sprint where it doesn't really matter rather than in the race. I guess it actually kind of does make sense. The start, Lewis had a terrible start, so that sucked for him.
Literally.
And like Max also had like a lockup pretty much straight away, which like saved Charles a little bit.
He nearly cleaned up someone, or was that? I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up.
Yeah,
but it did save Charles.
He came very close to Charles, I think, when he locked up, but then obviously like pulled back. And the McLarens pulled like 2 seconds on Charles in the first like few laps, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, right, and I was like, okay, this is going to be so unproblematic. They're going to just check out into the lead. They can swap the positions at a leisurely pace. No one's going to get shitty. No one's going to get pissy. But that is not what happened.
No.
At all.
Fair play to Oscar. Because, quite frankly, he would have wiped the floor with Lando had he not been told to drag him along.
To give... I know.
And eventually, obviously, give the place back. But he was, like... He was clearing Lando and then having to pull back so that Lando wouldn't come under threat. Like...
Yeah, I know. That was just so stressful. I was like, bruh. But also, like, he can't give him the place then because then Oscar's going to lose places too. It's like, it's stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I can see how it would be stressful to be Lando.
Totally.
To be like, I need to get in front of him because now I'm in his dirty air and he's cooking me and I'm about to get overtaken. I need to get through so I don't die.
I know. But him whining by like lap 7, I was just like...
I know. Like, immediately, I was like, a little early.
Yeah.
But like, again, like, they could have done it when they had the 2-second gap. But that was, like, in the first lap. So they didn't think they needed to do that.
Totally. And then they got so lucky that they switched it when they did with the virtual safety car. Because if they hadn't...
But that's obviously why they switched it when they did.
Totally. But if they'd just said, oh, no, it'll probably be fine, we'll wait till the last lap. No, it wouldn't. Because he wouldn't have been allowed to switch.
Yeah, I know. Places. That's why, like... But they took a while to do it. Like, Nico was there.
Yeah.
For a little minute before they called the virtual safety car.
Yeah.
And as soon as Nico got beached and had, like, wheel spin in the gravel, I was like, he's not going anywhere.
No.
He's not. He's not going anywhere. I was like, it's going to be a safety car or a virtual safety car. The race is probably going to end under said safety car.
Yeah.
They need to swap the positions.
So, this... Anyway. Felt like the start of some real, like, Michael Massey shit going on this weekend.
Yeah.
Because it really felt like every decision was like, let's just wait and see how Lando goes, what happens with, like, McLaren and the championship before we make any sorts of decisions. Yeah. And so, like, with this one, it was almost like they were, like, waiting to call the safety car to give McLaren
for them
extra
to swap
time to switch. And then immediately after they switched, they called it. And I'm not saying there's some sort of, like, conspiracy going on, but it really felt that way. It was like...
It was a little crazy. I was like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But that's like when I was like, where is the safety car? Where is the virtual safety car?
I know. It took way too long. Yeah. Obviously, like, on the restart then, Max came very close to getting Oscar. And obviously ended up getting that penalty for not really obeying safety car rules.
Yeah. But, like, I understand why he did. He was like, well, this isn't the only chance I'm going to get.
Yeah.
To get past him.
Yeah.
Oscar kind of cooked. Like, Oscar really cooked in that sprint. And, like, obviously, if he had been allowed to win the race, he would have done so by a fat margin.
Oh, yeah.
But also, like, once he was behind, like, he had to defend a little bit. Like, he was, like...
Totally, yeah.
In that last lap, he was, like, fucking fighting for his life.
I know. Well, Max was, like, right up his ass. I mean, it was understandable that Max got a penalty for that, though, because he basically tried to overtake him before the race had properly restarted. Like, he was obviously just trying to anticipate it, and I think what they were saying on the commentary is the drivers don't actually fully get told exactly
to the T. Yeah.
So I kind of get it, but it was just very aggressive.
Yeah. Like, and just the fact that it was the last lap. I think if it wasn't the last lap, maybe you would have played it a little bit safer.
Yeah.
And, like, I'll just have a crack at him next time. But there was to be no next time.
No.
But yeah, that was so funny. Did you see in the press conference when the reporter was like, "Congratulations, Oscar"?
Yeah, I know.
He was like,
it was like you pretty much would have won the race, but you're second, so.
Yeah, I'm glad that, like, Lando saw the humor in it. Like, he was cackling.
Yeah.
Because he also was like, oh, I don't like to win in that way, but, like, thank you, bestie. Like,
Totally, yeah.
you know.
You know what was something really funny that happened in the
Yes.
sprint? Was Max, like, calling out Charles for making too many mistakes. Basically being like, Charles, you're better than this. Come on. Pull it together.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Silly.
He was like, is this the guy I know and love?
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
seem
know.
like it. It was
Like,
quite
what's
funny.
going on? Anyways, do you have anything else to say on the sprint?
No.
No? Slay.
I was excited. I was like, this is good signs. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to have a vibe. And then the rain came and ruined
The
it
rain
all.
came. I went to turn on Quali, like, last night? No, yesterday morning, my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
me
I
too.
was like, oh, it hasn't started yet. Why is that? Like, because it was like when I woke up, and then I
Yeah.
like looked at my phone, and I was like, oh.
They
Anyway,
said no to quali because it was too wet.
and then we
And
got to
fair
Quali,
enough.
and it
It
was
looked-
still too wet.
Something I thought was really funny was like, they were talking about Lance Stroll like sliding, and they said he looked like a beginner on ice skates. And I was like, he also looks like a beginner in an F1 car, but like, you do. I was like, but they were not like slagging him off, just because he was like skating
Of
around the
course,
track,
yeah.
which
That's
he
so funny.
continued to do.
You know
But,
what I did think to myself the other day? I was like, I talk a lot of shit about Lance Stroll to someone who frequently hits the curb. So, you know, I feel entitled to talk about Lance Stroll the way I do, but I do also recognise that I could never, in a million years, do what he does.
Yeah, but also like there's like a million people who can do it better than he can who don't have a seat.
Yeah.
So
we
anyway,
had
so
5
yes.
red flags. Insane.
But not even like just 5 red flags or like 5 drivers crash, 5 people go off,
Yeah.
5 full sends into the wall,
Yeah.
destroyed car red flag, like
Yeah.
0 chill.
Yeah. And countless yellow flags.
I was like, this is fucking outrageous. Like, and it did obviously end up impacting people, but I was like, you're going to be lucky to put a time in. The first one was Franquito, relatively solid hit
Yes.
into the wall, which was followed by Lando nearly going out in Q1, which was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this is fucking championship over. Little did I know, he can start a poll and the championship's still over.
Literally.
But
It just got to the point where it's like how long is Quali gonna take to
I
get
know.
through? Because it just kept on pausing. And I mean, look, I'm just glad everyone was okay. At the end of the day, I honestly don't have any real thoughts around Quali other than, oh my
was
god,
insane.
how did we have 5 red flags? Because with that amount of chaos, it could have gone anyway. Like,
yeah,
Liam
and
Lawson
it
could have
did.
been on pole.
Like, I
Like-
know, but even though Lando like still got pole and George Russell was still front row, and that's like relatively like you could see that in normal
Yes.
conditions.
Yeah.
But then Yuki Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, Liam Lawson,
Yeah.
like random shit did happen. And in Q3 there was only 7 cars running because everyone fucking crashed.
Well, exactly.
And both Aston Martins dragged themselves out of Q1.
Yes.
They don't do that, and then they both binned it, and I was like, "What's going on?"
I know.
Like you're finally, and like, because I was kind of like, you know, there's a few people that like you might put down for a crash
Yes.
when these conditions start to go. You know, like the rookies. You know,
But
like
they
maybe
were all
Franco.
kind of fine.
Well, yeah, I know, but like even like Alex Albon, you can put him down for a crash. Either of the Ferraris are good for a quali crash here and there.
True.
Like, not super frequently, but
Yeah.
Lance, absolutely. Fernando Alonso, I was like, whoa!
Yeah, that was crazy. I know.
I was like,
Obviously
wow.
on like Albon's crash, which then took him out of the race. That was very
Yeah.
upsetting.
Disappointing. I was so upset for him.
Yeah.
It was really funny. When Alonso crashed, I was like, wait, Stroll already crashed. I was like, who's this?
Like an Aston Martin in the wall. Lance.
Exactly. And then it was Fernando, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh? But like double repair jobs, and they had a few hours, which is obviously why Alex Albon couldn't run. But like Yeah,
Yeah,
a few
just
hours to fix both cars. I felt for the mechanics, especially at Williams, when anyway they couldn't fix it. But
And especially because they'd had to been up at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that because of the changed start times.
yeah.
Like, to have that happen when you've been up since 4 in the morning and still have to like have a race and then obviously have Franco crash in the race.
Oh, the Williams mechanics, like, when it cut to them after Alex's crash, I was like, oh, you poor things.
But yeah, so
Anyway.
Quali was just nuts. Like, full stop.
It was
There's
absolutely
really
outrageous.
nothing more to say about it. Obviously,
Like, I was so excited for, like, Yuki,
yeah, true.
like, to be in the top 3 and get, like, interviewed. And, like,
Yes.
he was, like, hanging around, like, pulled up in the top 3, like, spots and, like, was, like, wandering around, like,
He was like,
what do I do?
Here?
It's like, this is uncharted territory. I don't know
So
what
true.
to do.
And also, like, obviously knowing that Max was going to start P17 was like, ooh, championship
Yeah, because
moment.
that's the thing. The race was fucking crazy.
I know, when
So
I
it
opened
started-
up the recording, and it was like 5.5 hours long, I was like, oh dear. Oh dear God.
You were like, who's dead?
For real.
But
I was like,
the drama started instantly.
oh yeah,
'Cause
formation lap
Lance
numero
Stroll-
uno.
Yeah, literally. Lance Stroll decided to bin it on the formation lap. And, like, we've seen people go off on the formation lap, but it's normally, like, a mechanical failure.
Yeah,
I was going to slander him more, and I was like, well, it was wet, but
it was.
the
wet.
formation lap,
I know. Brutal.
like, come on.
So then obviously we finished the first formation lap, and then lots
Aborted
more drama
start.
started with the aborted start. How
So
do you
apparently
feel
that's the
about
wrong-
the outcome of those penalties? Lando got a £5,000 fine, and
like
the
10
team got
cents to him.
reprimanded. And yeah,
He's fine.
I know. And all the other drivers had like no consequence. I think it's
Well-
BS. That's a whole racing lap that just got removed because you didn't wait until the light went green, which is like not even just F1 rules, that is like basic driving rules.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's also because, like, they kind of fucked up. Like, what the commentary said is, like, aborted lap, like, Bernie Collins said that aborted lap is normally followed by extra formation lap. Aborted start, extra formation lap. But abandoned start means that you have to stop. So, like, but they just said aborted start. So they, like, apparently kind of, because, like, as I said, I just didn't really have time to, like, look into too much that happened.
Yeah.
Because I was, like, on my way to work and then I got back and now I'm filming. So, like,
yeah.
I haven't looked into it too much, but she was like, yeah, that's, like, it's weird that they used the terminology aborted start.
Yeah. I think she later said that actually that's the correct term to use. But
okay,
either
well,
way,
that's
there
that.
probably was confusion.
To not reprimand everyone, like, so what if Lando went? Everyone else stayed? Because then it's like, well, what about the people that didn't go? Because they know the rules. Like, they get off with as much as, like, the people that followed Lando because Lando went. And his pit crew should have obviously told him, but, like, it's a starting line infringement. Surely that's, like, similar to, like, a jump start.
Totally.
It's like a penalty, a
there
5
should
second
have been a penalty. And there should have been a penalty
Yeah.
to everyone that jumped the
Went
start,
through.
essentially.
Yeah.
And yes, it was only for a second formation lap, but at the end of the day, like, you also have the lights there for, like, safety. Like, if there's still people on the track, or for whatever reason you cannot have cars going round yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cars can't just start going round.
Like, obviously Lando shouldn't have gone, but, like, bit of a fumble from McLaren.
Totally. They should have told him. Majority of the drivers all knew the rules.
Yeah, Max was like, there's no green light.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
And, like, Oscar didn't go.
I could so see Oscar just being like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah. But again, the whole Michael Massey thing. Like, they waited until the end of the race to make a decision. Like, what? Were you just waiting to see where Lando finished in comparison to Max to then decide whether or not you were going to give him a penalty?
Had he won the race, would you have given him a 5-second penalty?
Yeah. Like, if he'd won it by more than 5 seconds, would you have given him the penalty because at the end of the day it wouldn't have mattered?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it just like, felt sus.
It was weird. They were, like, investigated after the session, and I was like...
For what reason? You've got the whole race to make a decision.
I'm like, it already happened. It's not ongoing.
No.
It's not, like, developing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was crazy.
Yeah, but anyway.
Anyways, that was kind of crazy. When, on, like, the first lap, when Perez spun, I thought that was Max.
Me too.
I shit myself. I was like, even though, like, he got going and it was, like, literally fine. But when I saw a Red Bull facing the wrong way, I was like, but it was Perez. I should have fucking known. I should have known. Max, off the start.
Dude, he made it, like, 6 places straight away. I was like, huh?
He was like, no DRS, no problem, bitch.
He was like,
I don't fucking care. Literally. He was like, you all have no grip? Pfft, must suck.
Literally.
Like, I was like,
and
dear
then, like,
God.
Went to go past Oscar. Oscar was like, going through. Oscar did not defend at all. He was like, yeah.
No. I also thought it was so funny. Liam Lawson, like, basically bowed down and, like, waved him past.
Bro, he got the internal blue flag. Absolutely.
You tried to kill Perez last week at his own race.
Oh,
but yeah.
There is no way that, like, Christian Horner or whoever was not on the phone to V-Car being like, let Max through right now.
Yeah, and also, like, that's the guy he's trying to be teammates with. So, like, it doesn't make sense for him to try and start beef with him. It makes sense for him to start beef with Perez.
Totally.
It doesn't make sense for him to start beef with Max.
You want to show you can be a great teammate for Max.
Exactly.
So, Liam is auditioning very well.
Wait, we didn't talk about how both RBs got into Q3 and neither of the Red Bulls did.
Dude, yeah.
I had it on my list, but I skipped through it.
That's so
kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
Who's the real big dog now, Christian?
I'm getting attacked by flies. Dude, I know.
Ew. Don't get
malaria.
That was
crazy.
Everyone was like, fucking... Shit was happening. People were bumping.
For real. Franco Colapinto's move on Lewis was really good. And, like, just the crowd going wild, like, after he did it.
Yeah.
Like, and I know we've talked about this before, but, like, they must just be such, like, pinch me moments for those young drivers when they get to do, like, overtakes and stuff like that on Lewis. Because you're just like, I've been watching this man my entire life.
Literally. And it's like, you also see Franco every time he's, like, with Lewis, he's like, oh.
I know.
He's like born to be a fanboy, like, forced to be a racing driver. Like, he's literally, every time he's around Lewis, he's like,
hi.
It's like, you can charm the socks off anyone else. When it comes to Lewis Hamilton, you're like a little puddle.
I know. But speaking of the young drivers, Ollie Bearman accounted for, like, 75% of those yellow flags.
He was not having a good time. But also, like, your first 2 races in F1 went better than anything. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, you can't always have everything.
And driving in the rain is just
so different.
A unique beast. Like, you know, Lando came, 5th? Max won from 17th. Like, you literally just never know. So
because of everyone going off and, like, the safety cars and, like, the timing, because that's the thing. The first virtual safety car was... Wait. Do we need to stop?
Yeah. Let's pause it here.
I feel like it's a good place to pause.
Yeah. And then we will pick this back up either later tonight or...
in the morning. Sorry, not in the morning. I'm not getting up at fucking... Oh, no, you would have to get up really early.
I would have to get up really early.
But also, you're not. I'm not gonna ask you to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just let me know. Obviously, if you can't do tonight, then that's like, don't rush back. Don't like compromise what you're doing.
Cool. Yeah. All good. Well, we will check back in shortly, and I feel like we're just gonna like cut it, and then it's gonna wake up. It's gonna like. I turned it back on. Great. Well, we're gonna cut it, and then it's gonna go boom, into our new one right now.
Yeah, ready. And we're back. It is now the following day. So of this little 2-day podcast.
Yes.
But we're making it work whilst holidays are occurring.
The commitment is there.
Correct. So, slay. So where we got up to was, like, we were about to start talking about the safety car.
Yeah, and like the pit stops that started happening, because I want to talk about, I thought Ferrari had just butchered it with Charles.
I know. I was like, oh god, Charles, the
timing,
first car to pit is a Ferrari.
in the rain, it's never a good. I was like, are they going to put slicks on? I genuinely was like, are they going to put slicks on? Because they do that almost every time.
Yes.
But because the timing was so funny, because Bernie Collins had literally just been like, oh, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, a Red Bull and a Ferrari, you know, use Perez and Sainz as their, like, test dummies, like, with tyres. And she just said this, and then there was a Ferrari coming into the pits, and everyone, I say as if I was watching, not by myself, I was like, oh, surely that's, you know, Carlos coming into the pits. And I was like, oh no, that's Charles.
Honestly.
Oh, it's Charles. So that was, I found it, but it worked out fine.
Yeah, it actually didn't end up really impacting his race at all.
Well, it was Nico off, and then it was Colapinto.
And then it was a red flag.
The red flag, and the race started behind the safety car after the red flag.
Yes.
Well, what happened with Nico Hulkenberg was kind of insane.
Yeah.
Like, there's been no black flag disqualification since 2007.
Really?
No.
Wow.
That was actually my fact.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, because he got assistance from he had outside assistance. The marshals pushed his car back onto the track. You're not allowed to do that. He got disqualified.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you not know that? That's so funny. Because I was like, the Nico Hulkenberg thing, and you were like,
I was like,
he
yeah,
just went off.
like he went off.
Fairly standard, actually. No,
yeah, that's crazy.
Not fairly standard. Bro got disqualified. But anyway, that was kind of crazy.
So then obviously we had a safety car restart.
And
And
Ocon was kind of cooking.
Yeah?
Like, out in front, he pulled like 5 seconds on Max on that restart.
Yeah.
Like, he was kind of cooking. And I was like, ain't no fucking way Esteban Ocon is going to win this race. There's no way.
I know. I was like, is Esteban about to win this race right now? But
yeah,
also,
I was like,
Lando absolutely bottled the restart.
That was the second restart. That was the second restart.
No, but I think...
The first restart, he got up past George.
No, but when it's restarted on, like, lap 43, which was, like, the...
After Carlos crashed.
Yeah. He bottled that one.
Yeah, that was the next, the following safety car restart.
So, like, 2 out of the 3, or, like, 3 out of the 4 restarts of this race, like, Lando bottled.
I don't think anyone should be shocked by that.
No.
It wasn't good. But one thing I thought was really funny was Carlos, before he crashed on the radio, was like, Ricky, what is this? What tire is this? This is not due into Ricky. Hello? And then immediately crashed.
Yeah.
And I was like... And I've seen, like, memes about it, and, like, that radio message where Carlos is like, Ricky, what the fuck? And then it's, like, to that, and then him in the wall, and it's that sound, and it's like, when I catch you, Ricky! Ricky, when I catch you! And I'm like, that's hilarious. But,
no.
yeah, Carlos was literally like, hello? There were some good radio messages flying around over the race weekend, to be fair.
There were some good
Ollie
ones.
was literally like, he was, like, when on, like, one of his many expeditions off the track, he was like, I'm not trying to die. He was like, I can't see. I'm not trying to die.
He's like, I'm doing my best out here. I cannot live love in these conditions.
But that's something, the conditions were actually fucked.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, George was calling for a red flag, like, before, obviously, a red flag happened. He was calling for a red flag because of how wet it was.
Yeah. Yeah, a few of them were. Like, even Oscar was like, I can't fucking see anything.
Yeah. Which, like, just
I don't
watching
think he
it, you're
saw,
like,
but-
how can anyone see anything?
But yeah, then obviously after Carlos put it in the wall and that restart happened, that's when it all went fucking tits up. Because yes, other things had gone poorly for Lando that far, but then that restart was just... I mean, it could have been worse. He could have put it in the wall, but it was almost that bad. Like,
It was not ideal. And I think just, like, the
No.
fact that, like, okay, I want Max to win, and Max will obviously win the championship now. But even leading up to this
Yes.
race, I was like, I want Max to win the championship because I just feel like he deserves it more this season. Because he's just, frankly, been a better driver, a more consistent driver, like, the whole season. And I think, like,
Yeah.
unfortunately for Lando and McLaren, like, they have kind of just bottled an opportunity where they have,
Yeah.
I think, had a dominant car for the entire season. They've bottled it.
it's a little bit like Charles with Ferrari in like 2022. It's like if one of them wasn't fucking it up, the other one was. It's like, because Charles, you know, full sent into the wall a few times that year, and it's the same when like Lando bottles a fucking start or like bottles a qualifying. Like, driver error is gonna cost you a certain amount of points, but team strategy error, when that's not consistent, is like, it's not like, if like, you know, like Red Bull had a bad strategic race here and there,
Yeah.
you know, their car was terrible here and there, but like Max doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like you could probably still win a world championship if like either the team or the driver makes a mistake here and there. Like no one's
Yeah.
probably going to be perfect the whole year.
Totally.
But yeah, when the driver and the team are both making mistakes on alternating weekends, it's
I
like,
know. But it is what it is. We will see how things go next year for McLaren.
yeah.
But, yeah.
I know. Obviously, Lando was in the position to win the world championship because of how he outperformed Oscar earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Now that they have a fast car from the start, I'm assuming, unless, you know, other teams perform wizardry in the winter break, which you never fucking know. But, yeah, I think it might be a lot more equal, and there's probably going to be a lot of stressful problems coming into that season with those two drivers,
Yeah.
which makes me want to throw myself off a building. But it'll be exciting.
It will.
But yeah, you know, everyone knows where I stand. I yelled about this like 3 weeks in a row. But anyway, back to the race.
Yeah.
I want to just like Max. I think I said this yesterday. Like, it's just so impressive.
So impressive.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Like, I've heard
I was
people
almost
comments saying, like, it's maybe one of the top 5, like, drives of all time.
yeah, and like it's definitely his best win.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of crazy. Because once he got out into the lead ahead of Ocon, he set 17 fastest laps, all of which were the fastest lap record at Brazil
Yeah.
in those conditions.
Yeah.
Like, obviously cars go faster and faster every year, so breaking lap records isn't crazy, but breaking the lap record 17 times in those conditions is fucked.
I know. My biggest meme for the weekend was, there was, like, a radio message where Charles asked his engineer,
Oh, yeah.
like, what's the, like,
Lap time.
fastest lap time? And his engineer just goes, don't ask, Charles.
Don't ask. You don't want to know while you're still in the car. Like, we'll tell you later. Like, fucked. But anyway, we got to the end of the race and it was a double Alpine podium. I love this. I am so shocked at how much I love this. I was literally at the, like, when they were the ones in the position up there, like, with Max, I was like, can they fuck off? Like, what are they doing up here? Like, you don't belong here. Get back to the midfield, hose. What are you doing? But I loved it. Oh my God. Like,
I know.
obviously it's always just so nice to see, like, when people are so excited.
I know.
So, like, even Max's celebration, I was like, yes, slay.
I
You've just won the world championship, and, like, that's my driver. But I was literally, like, so happy for Max. I was like, oh, like, it's so good to see you, like, screaming and cheering and, like, celebrating and, like, obviously the Alpines. And I was like, this is going to be really funny. Like, you know, the Ocon Gasly, like, what's the dynamic? The dynamic was married couple, fucking newlyweds, honeymoon period.
Them just being like, it's like when we were kids and like go-karted together and like it was just like they're both like reminiscing about that, and then like the formation lap, like them driving around together. I was like, it was so cute.
I'm like, this is so full circle for them. Like, I just love that. The interview that they did, and it was like Ocon was being interviewed, and then like they brought Pierre over because he was there. And the way that Esteban is looking at him, I'm like, what is going on? He like was just like staring at Pierre like so lovingly. I was like, you tried to kill him like 2 months ago. Like, what is going on?
Do you remember Monaco?
Yeah. Do you remember when Esteban Ocon departs from Alpine was liked by Pierre Gasly? I do. It was really funny.
That's so funny. Coming back to the Max celebration as well, like, for me, because I obviously only started watching it last year, and so, like, anytime I saw Max win, it was never, like, a big, he was like, okay, like, he was like, cool, yep, go team, simply lovely.
Like,
yeah, he had a little, like, fist bump, and that was it. So it was sort of, like, my first time seeing him, like, really celebrate a win, because up until now, he's just so consistently won that, like, it's always just been like, okay, good job, yep, another one, another one.
Being, like, the pictures of him, like, coming out onto the podium, he's like,
I
was like, oh, get it, King? I was like, you get that.
I know.
And, like, I didn't expect myself to be, like, to fill in those sort of sentiments towards Max Verstappen in these circumstances, but I was like, you know what, get it, King. Get it. Anyway, should we award some awards?
I feel like we should, yes. Biggest winner.
Yes. Well, like, Max and Alpine. Like, I feel like there's not really any other, like, options. Alpine have jumped up to 5th in the Constructors' Championship, I think, from, like
Is it
they
5th
got
or
the
6th?
huge... I thought it was 5th. Oh, yeah, it's almost 5th.
Yeah. They're
Behind
still a bit
Aston.
behind Aston, yeah.
Yeah, but if they go from, I think they were 9th or 8th
Yeah.
up to 6th, and that is going to bring with it, like, $50 million for the team.
Yeah.
If they, like, finish the Constructors there.
Yeah.
Because I think that they've, like, solidly cleared Haas and RB. Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah, that was literally, like, a $50 million drive.
and, like, if that's not a biggest dub, I don't know what the fuck is.
Completely.
I mean, obviously Max and his world championship, but I don't think there's any other, like,
I know.
dubs.
I think,
that's just the biggest dub.
I know. I think I heard somewhere, Max only has to outscore Lando by, like, 2 points in the next race to cinch the title.
Yeah.
So, I feel like it's going to be claimed in Vegas.
If it's not...
And if not, it'll be Qatar.
Yeah, like, it's done. Like, but, like, I kind of... I literally said, like, a few months ago, I was like, I don't want it to go down to Abu Dhabi because, like, I can't cope with that. I'm just kind of, like, for my heart, my stress, like, it's kind of better. It's better this way. I'll accept defeat.
I'm like,
to not be stressed.
Give me a last lap showdown. I'm here for it.
Anyway, who's your biggest L?
Williams and Lando were my two.
Yeah. Once again, I feel like with the biggest dubs, I feel like the biggest L's were pretty clean cut.
Yeah. What was your silliest surprise?
The Alpine double podium.
Me too. That's
Like, it has to be. It has to be. And also, I put, like, 5 cars in the wall in quali.
Yeah,
like, 5 red flags in quali. Was the silliest surprise.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I know.
Yuki Tsunoda starting P3 was a silly surprise.
Yes. That was
But the double Alpine podium out silly surprises everything.
Completely
like,
agree.
What the fuck was that?
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
That's so funny.
When I
Yeah,
thought
literally,
Esteban
what the
Ocon was
fuck.
going to win, I was like, oh my god, we're going to have yet another different Grand Prix winner this year.
Yeah,
So
true.
good.
I didn't think about that. I was just like, ain't no fucking way. I was like, what the fuck?
Do you have any other biggest memes? I've already said mine, which was like Charles's radio message about the fastest lap. Do you have any other ones?
I saw a really funny meme, and it was like the driver of the day graphic with Bernd Lando, who's the safety car driver. I thought that was really funny. Driver of the day.
Max. I agreed with the people.
Yep. I agree with the people as well.
And he like
Oh,
never
these
gets
awards
driver
are so
of the
boring
day.
this week. I know. It's his first driver of the day of the year.
I know.
I'm like, to be fair, he hasn't been winning races, but previously, like last year, bro had to like backflip the Red Bull 10 times and finish 10 minutes ahead of everyone to even get near driver of the day.
I
So,
know.
but like, if he didn't get driver of the day, it would be like,
Yeah.
are we watching the same thing?
For real.
I mean, if either of the Alpines would have got it, like they also both slayed.
Yes.
Like they did really good,
Yes.
obviously.
Totally. Agree.
But I love just like agreeing on everything for the awards this
I know.
week because like everything's so clear cut. Like it was such a
Yeah.
chaotic race, and just like it's like these were the good things that happened and these were the bad things that happened.
Yeah, definitely.
There's like not that much else to discuss
I know.
in terms of like, oh, but like this situation and what about this and what about this? It's like, no, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice. There's not like that much like controversy.
No. So, favorite moment?
I actually put like the podium and cool down room, like just the celebrations,
Yeah.
because they were so cute, like all of them.
Yeah.
And like I loved them. Like I already spoke a little bit about it, but genuinely like, and just like the chaos.
Yeah.
It was
Just
so
watching the
chaotic.
chaos. No, I
Yeah.
completely agree. Like, just seeing the drivers having to compete in those conditions and like
Yeah.
recognize. I think as well the fact that like Ollie Bearman was slip sliding around so much, completely understandably, and Franco put in the wall just shows how like skilled the older drivers are at.
Yeah. Or just like all of them are,
Yeah.
and like
Or like
It
the
could've
more
been
the more
obviously
experienced
anyone.
ones, I mean, like who are not just like
Yeah.
first season only been in the car a few times. Like
Whee!
yeah, like how
Yeah.
skilled and talented they are. I think it like
Yeah.
races like that show more than anything. Like
yeah, like it kind of highlights as well, like again, like how good Oscar is for being so new.
yeah,
Like he had a little whoopsie daisy in qualifying, but he didn't crash.
yes,
And he still hasn't crashed all year. He's still the only driver who has completed 100% of racing laps.
yep,
The other three young drivers were on struggle street. Like Liam did good. He did have a few like
he did, yeah,
mows though.
for sure. But yeah, it was
But-
just I think just like watching them like battle those conditions was like phenomenal. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
that was probably
fucking
my
stressful.
favorite moment.
And next week, next race. We have 2 weeks off.
We do.
Last year, Max won. Shock.
Yes.
But Lando had a rather large crash.
He did. That was crazy.
A rather
his crash
large
last year.
oopsie.
Yeah. He just went
Yeah.
sliding. Ferrari had a great
Yeah.
race in Vegas last year because they just absolutely
10-place grid
closed-
penalty, no?
Oh, well, yes. Charles had
But a good race.
Charles had a phenomenal race. At one point, it was looking like
Yeah.
Charles might win, which was amazing. But he didn't. But, yeah, Carlos did not slay, obviously, because of the damage to the car from
The drain cover.
Yeah. So ridiculous. And if we'd had a podcast, I would have things to say about that.
About that, yeah, fair enough.
But Charles was really good last year because their car like overcooked the tires constantly last year, but because it
Yeah,
was Vegas and it was the desert at nighttime and it was cold, the car was like,
Oh,
let's
they were
go.
kind of cooking, yeah. The car was like, and now the conditions are perfect. This like once-off situation is perfect for my tires. What I'm excited about for Vegas is the fact that it's a 5 p.m. Sunday night race.
Could not agree more. But
Yeah,
Vegas was great. It was
you
just
know.
a good race last year, so I'm expecting it to be good again. And obviously, there's a lot of doubts that it was going to be a good race, but it turned out
Yeah.
actually being really great.
Yeah. I mean, like, from what I've seen, like, a lot of the media around it was, like, kind of corny. But if the racing was good, then I'm here
It
for
was. Like, Max even had Max and Checo had this, like, Elvis, like, race suit with, like, a big Elvis belt. And it was so bad. And, like, it was so cringe.
Ick.
But it was, like,
Ick.
kind of funny as well, because it was Max, and
It's
obviously we
hilarious.
hated it.
And Max
But
and Checo would have fucking hated that.
And, like, they had this, like, massive opening ceremony last year, too.
Oh my god, and that's that meme where it's, like, the announcer guy, and he's like, Checo
No.
Perez!
Well, there was
He's, like,
that,
stood there, like...
but there was also this, like, opening ceremony where there were these, like, all these stages, like, elevated stages that they put on the, like, grid, and then they, like, raised the drivers up on platforms onto the, so they, like, appeared
I've seen
out onto
this,
the,
actually,
and it was
yeah.
literally like the F1 Hunger Games. It was like, what? Like, what is going on?
What is going on?
And all the
That's
drivers were
hilarious.
so
And the fucking
uncomfortable.
thing
Like,
is,
Max
I
was
know. I was just gonna say that, like, none of the drivers, I don't think there's a single driver that I can think of that would have enjoyed that. Maybe Danny Rick.
I know.
But
There was
like,
there was
I
a Drive to Survive clip where Max was like, "Can we please not do it?"
yeah. But literally, like, bro, it's so funny. Like, Red Bull, you've already put him in a fucking Elvis race suit.
I know.
Oh, it's
So
really
silly.
funny. Anyways, we should wrap up
We
because
should.
the episode's going to be really long.
Yes. But anyways, very excited
anyway.
for Vegas. Brazil was insane. We'll be back on
For the rest of the
couches
year.
for the next episode. Yeah, for the rest of the year.
If you're listening, please give us a 5-star review because it really helps us out. And yeah, we're trying to get the podcast on Apple Podcasts. We've been trying. We see your comments. We apologize. We're trying. It's really annoying. But please bear with us. We'll let you know once it's there. And if you're watching on YouTube, do give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and subscribe because most of you aren't subscribed. So I see you. And it's easy, okay? Thank you. It helps. It makes us happy.
Slay.
Anyways, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right.